Are you bored of the same old Elden Ring lore videos? Who are the outer gods? What happened to Godwyn? Who is Mikola? I played Elden Ring one time and now I'm into women that could beat me up. Help! Well, you're in luck, because I'm not like the other Tarnished. I'm much worse. The name's Rare, a professional Elden Ring challenge runner with an overactive imagination and hyperfixation for this game, and today we're counting down Elden Ring's top 10 least dateable denizens. First off, we gotta define what counts as dateable. The only eligibility requirement I'm making is that they gotta be capable of human speech in order to be capable of forming romantic bonds. I'm so sorry to all the monster lovers out there, but this video isn't for you. But if I did make that list, Vicar Amelia would be at the top, and she ain't even in this game. All right, back to topic. The other thing is that I'm ranking them based on their current physical and mental state in the game. I don't care if Reichart was a stand-up guy beforehand. I'm living and dating in the present, not afternoon delighting to the past. Now, before I get into the rankings, just remember this is a 100% objective list that no one could contend, especially not in the comment section below. I expect no squabbling on the internet, and I'm certain my expectations will be met. All right, let's get into it.
Number 10.
Sir Gideon Ofnir. At first glance, you may wrongly assume that Gideon made it on this list just because he's out of my age range, which he is, but just because the wrapper is wrinkled doesn't mean the candy ain't sweet. I take a lot of pride in the objectivity of my list, and I would metaphorically pound this old man until his hip shattered if he had the slightest touch of a kind heart or whimsical nature. But alas, he's just a pompous know-it-all. Gideon is the leader of the round table, but he should be near dead last on the leaderboard of your love life. He's afflicted with something I like to call correctile dysfunction, which can be defined by my mind meat as an irresistible urge to knowledge dump in a way that comes off arrogant or pedantic. Besides that, dating Gideon would be, how do I say it? Depressing. He doesn't care at all about people's feelings, but rather if they're of use to him in his quest for knowledge. This is displayed multiple times through the dialogue with the player character, as well as through Nephili's quest where he betrays her at the drop of a hat. He's always talking condescending to you too, calling you a namby-pamby, tarnished, foolish, etc. And by Marika's tits is he negative, monologuing at you that a man cannot kill a god. Well, not with that attitude. Personally, I'd rather pleasure myself with a cheese grater than try to be married to that.
Number 9.
Gatekeeper Goso. One of my favorite lore theories is that Goso is actually the son of Godric, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's true because the treacherous apple doesn't fall far from the traitorous tree. In case any of y'all don't remember, Goso is a suspicious NPC that hangs outside of Stormville Castle who specializes in gatekeeping, gaslighting, and guy bossing. After your introduction to him, this pathetic rat man stalks you throughout your trek through Stormville, setting up little schemes to kill you and pillage your corpse. He has that oily, grimy look about him like an old used rag from a car mechanic shop. You already know he doesn't shower and is full of fleas, but looks and hygiene aren't everything, so let's analyze his romantic prospects, shall we? And romantically, Goso still leaves a lot to be desired. The courting phase would consist of having all your dates at his place at Stormville. Even though he's been freed from Godric's hold, he just likes it round there, and looting corpses together in y'all's free time. He'd definitely be super distrusting, following you around wherever you went to make sure you weren't being unfaithful. Meanwhile, he's the one with a premium subscription to Nephili's OnlyFans. All would seem fine enough though, until he convinces you to marry him, insists upon no prenup, then takes you for 30% all you're worth in the pre-planned divorce. Classic greedy Goso.
Number 8.
Ragon of the Golden Order. Well, if it isn't the person whose messy romantic entanglement started this whole thing. To be clear, I'm going to be focusing on the Ragon part of the Marika-Ragon fuse being God thing, lest this get a lot more confusing than it already is. Ragon was a warrior of the Golden Order who served the Two Fingers, which are the representation of the greater will in the lands between. You and Ragon would start with the perfect love story. He would invade your lands in a territorial dispute, get stomped out completely, proceed to propose to you after his loss. You say yes, get married, buy a turtle, have 3 beautiful, all-powerful demigod children, happily ever after, right? Wrong. At the first sign of trouble, he would abandon you to go marry himself, herself. Yeah, and he might have a good reason, but this would leave you completely heartbroken and permanently fuck up the kids. Each one of them would develop complexes after his abandonment in the span of time it takes you to mourn the loss of your previously perfect life.
And the fucking deadbeat that should never say more life.
You just know Ragon is never leaving the woman he left you for too. Mostly because he's physically attached to her in one corporeal form, and I guess that would explain why his pullout game was so atrocious on account of having separation anxiety, but it's no excuse. Sorry, Ratty, but my heart can't take this anymore.
Number 7.
Patches. Well, 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 of course the most treacherous and pathetic trickster in all of FromSoft games would be on this list. Who do you think I am? As his name implies, Patches the Untethered would untether himself from any serious commitment under the flimsy guise of going out for cigarettes, be back soon, or something along those lines. He's clearly not very dependable, as showcased by when you summon him against Radon and he immediately pisses his pants and retreats as soon as he's on the battlefield, which is hilarious if you ask me, but you know, probably not the most reliable guy. He shows some dedication to Tanith and her cause, but I can't imagine him sticking around if the going ever got like too rough. As for the more physical intimacy aspect of Patches, I imagine it'd be like fighting him, except instead of hand to hand, it'd be gland to gland combat, and at around 50% of the way, he'd be too exhausted and surrender, white flag and all. Then be like too tuckered out and want to go play video games on the couch by himself.
Number 6.
Godric the Grafted. When it comes to smash or pass with Godric, I choose smash every time with a mace. Godric is a demigod who is desperately trying to be seen as worthy of his golden lineage and failing miserably. He's viewed as cowardly and weak by pretty much everyone in the lands between, but instead of going through his own anime training arc or working to better himself, he just steals other people's strength by showing their dismembered limbs onto himself, of course. He'd clearly be a one-sided and selfish lover, demanding all the praise and attention that he never got from mommy, daddy, or his questionably loyal subjects, but rarely ever giving it back to you. He'd tout around how talented he is in the sack, but need a waypoint to find the devil's doorbell or the backdoor bean, if you know what I mean. To top it off, he'd probably be ashamed of being romantically associated with a lowly tarnished in the first place and want to keep things in some sort of awkward situationship state that would drive you bananas with the push and pull. So yeah, I'll pass on this eldritch Mr. Potato Head.
Number 5.
Gank Beast Clergyman / Malekith, whatever. Malekith is the blood-crusted, sweat-soaked, death-root, breath-possessing, shadowbound beast and half-brother of Queen Marika the Eternal. He's the type of partner that has a tragic backstory, so you sympathize with why he isn't a good boyfriend, but continue to believe that one day you can fix him from his compulsive deathroot dependency and creepily too close relationship with his half-sister. But alas, he's a dog boy, not a brownstone. You can't fix him, and he ain't gonna make the changes to emotionally commit to you and get over his demons. When it comes to physical chemistry, he wouldn't be able to fully commit either, eating pussy like a sad dog then expecting a treat after. Also, you better hope you don't have bad allergies because you know he's dusty as hell from sitting completely still in his sanctum for however long, and I get the feeling he does not have a hypoallergenic coat.
Number 4.
Perceptor Ciris. Oh lord, this friggin' duplicitous little dolly botherer. Where do I even begin? So, Perceptor Ciris is a cartoonishly evil sorcerer in service of Ronnie by the time you come across him in the game. He gets off on turning people into his puppets for many theoretical reasons, but all of them bad. As far as a romantic partnership, that also seems to be a pretty bad idea. Ciris would constantly nitpick at you and find increasingly creative ways to tell you how useless you are while hypocritically not even having enough spine to fulfill his own treacherous plans without your help. He would wax poetic about how skilled he is in the sack because he gets so much play, but by play he secretly means practicing on the creepy Selin puppet that he keeps by his bed in his basement.
I am disgusted.
I can feel my wits evaporating in your mere presence.
Well, I can feel my slit sewing itself shut in yours.
Number 3.
Reichart, Lord of Blasphemy. This was a toss-up between Reichart and Millennia, to be honest, but Lord knows I would fuck a hole that Millennia punched in a wall, so I couldn't bring myself to besmirch her good name and took her off the list completely. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. While Reichart originally was a good dude who doled out justice and looked like the From Software version of the Burger King, once he offered himself up to the Serpent in the pursuit of immortality, he lost a lot of his looks and charm to me. He's the middle child of a divorced family that had a bit of a rebellious phase away from the Golden Order into his new punk rock lava serpent religion. But enough with the lore. How does this bode for a potential romantic relationship? Spoilers, it's not good. While his throat game would be incredibly strong, to say the least, it would be difficult being Reichard's lover for several reasons. First, you'd probably be expected to take over the duty of Volcano Manor's proprietress and Reichard's current squeeze, Tanith. These duties entail grooming tarnished hunters until they become powerful enough to be fed to Reichart. Not exactly the most honorable career path, but at least you get to live rent-free. Secondly, you'd have to acclimate to the literal boiling temperatures of his volcano estate to even be near him in any capacity, so I hope you like it hot.
What kind of place is this?
And third and final is the issue of size compatibility. I mean, come on, 100+ feet tall as a height is so unnecessary, like get down from there. Point is, no Reichart, we cannot be together.
Number 2.
Moog, Lord of Blood. So I think it's safe to say that Moog is generally just not that good of a dude. Even if you're on the fringe side of the community that believes Mikola has questionable morality and is using his affection-compelling capabilities to manipulate Moog and others, there's still a Newman's rune amount of evidence that he ain't the epitome of integrity. Now, I know a lot of y'all like a bad boy, but let me convince you why the last thing you'd want to do is visit his bloody bedchambers. First in foreskin, he's the leader of a bloodletting cult that murders and tortures both its enemies and its own members. I don't know about y'all, but I got my own bloodletting ritual once a month, if you know what I mean, and the last thing I need is Moog exacerbating that whole situation. Secondly, look at his face. Now slow your roll, I'm not body shaming, and the horn thing is actually super hot this season, but the predator-esque mandible mouth is just physically not gonna work with mine or probably y'all's downstairs machinery. Even if we were to have a union devoid of physical touch, Moog still seems very inconsiderate of his partner's needs. I feel like he would shirk responsibilities around the house, demanding that his cultists help to get it done so that he can get back to being a bad father and ignoring the kids. With the luck of his lineage, you'd also have cursed twins too. They would name something regal yet nonsensical like Reduvia Blood Blade or Rivers of Blood Jr. And they'd get bullied for being busted, then buckle under the social pressure and start their own outer god-influenced murderous cult in rebellion to the Empyrean norms. The list just goes on and on. Then finally, there's the whole kidnapping and marrying his own child brother thing, but at the threat of YouTube censorship greatsword, I'm just gonna end here and say, Moog can go knee-heel these nuts.
Number 1.
Dung Eater. No, not this repugnant rectum robber, the blatant booty baron, the crazed caca consumer, the devious doo-doo diner. No, just no. You know, I have to dung it to him. I think Dung Eater might actually be the most disturbing character in all of FromSoft. To put it into YouTube-friendly terms, he does no-no things to people's corpses, and even worse is that their souls end up cursed and unable to return to the Erd Tree. This is like the human equivalent of having your tuchus tinkered with unconsensually, and then suddenly you die and are cast out to eternal purgatory forever. The scariest example, however, of how disturbing he is to me is when Big Boggart mentions that he was locked in the same gaol as the Dung Eater, then he shudders, has a mental breakdown thinking of all the twisted, disgusting things he witnessed this guy do to a friend of his, and then he just shuts down completely. There is an argument to be made, I guess, that he'd be really good at prostate poking if that's your thing, but there's no love in his heart when he does it, guys. Come on, you could do better. Me personally, I'd have to marinate my muffin bleach if I ever considered getting close to intimate with him, and the only thing I'd kiss him with is a running chainsaw. All right. And that's my list for top 10 worst lovers in Elden Ring. Thank you again for watching. And if you like this video, I got several others on my channel, including Elden Ring challenge run fights, drinking game challenges, and more mumbo jumbo of the sort. Besides that, feel free to subscribe, follow me on Twitch if you want to see all this stuff go down live, and I'll see you next time. Bye!